Hey everybody, I'm back filming part 2 in this giant book haul that I have here for you. In this one I have 18 books. I'm not really going to go into detail about what most of the books are. I'm just going to go through them, plus some of them I don't know what they're about. Shoo. The first 3 books I have here are all in the same series, and I recently hauled 2 books from this author in one of my previous book hauls. I saw this and it sounded really interesting and I wanted to check it out, and it's more fantasy, so of course I wanted it. And it is the Chronicles of Chrestomanci. It is a high fantasy by Diana Wynne Jones, who is the author of Howl's Moving Castle, and I recently hauled 2 books from that series. There's 3 volumes, but each volume is a bind-up of 2 books. So we have volume 1, which has Charmed Life and the Lives of Christopher Chant. Then we have volume 2, which has The Magicians of Caprona and Witch Week. And then finally we have volume 3, which has Conrad's Fate and Pinho's Egg. And then the next 3 books are also in the same trilogy, and that trilogy is the Icemark Chronicles. And I heard about this trilogy when I was watching a bookshelf tour from April Brooks, and she described it, even though she hasn't read it yet, that she heard it as being like the Song of Ice and Fire but for teens. And I love Song of Ice and Fire, so I had to check it out. And so we have The Cry of the Icemark by Stuart Hill, Blade of Fire, and Last Battle of the Icemark. I'm actually currently reading this series because the way it was described when it came in, I was like, well, I have to check it out now. I'm actually going to be reading this throughout the month, so I've marked where I'm supposed to be each week. I finished this first week's and we're already halfway into the second week and I haven't started it yet. But I plan on doing a lot of reading on my day off tomorrow, so I'll probably catch up and maybe even get further in because I'm very much enjoying it so far and I cannot wait. Another cool thing is that, yes, they don't match, and I'm a little bit upset about it, but they have this really cool first edition first book, and it actually came in this cool box here. And I was just flipping through it and, you know, checking it out, and I didn't realize that it's signed. And it has this cool little 855 over 1,000, which I think that means that it is the 855th copy of the first 1,000 copies, I think. I can only assume that. So I thought that was pretty cool. If not, it's still signed, so I'm so happy about that. So I can overlook the fact that they don't match. All I know is that these are the US copies and this is the UK copy, so we'll see. I kind of like these copies better. I think it's kind of cute how they're like square shaped instead of, you know, longer shaped, this one. Then I was browsing in the bookstore and came across this little beauty, and it is Mindscape by M.M. Vaughan, or Vaughn. I still can't pronounce this author's name correctly, but it is the sequel to The Ability, which is this one. And again, a really gorgeous cover. It is what attracted me to this book to begin with, and I have not started this series yet, but seriously guys, when I checked the ratings on these were like 4.5 or 4.8 out of 5 stars. So I really need to check this out soon. So this series might be in the next month or so. I didn't even know the sequel came out, but I was just browsing through the bookstore and saw this from across the room, and it just was like, I was like magnetized to it because of the cover. So I had to pick it up. Then we have Death Sworn by Leah Sipis. This is a new series by her. I believe she did Mistwood, which I have not read yet. I'm not too interested in reading that one, but this one sounded really cool because it's a high fantasy. And I've actually already started this one. I couldn't find my bookmarks, so I kind of just placed the book, like I didn't even put the cover back on all the way. So I am barely in the beginning though. I'm on page 9. I'm kind of reading this in between the larger novels that I'm reading because it's a lot shorter, and I feel like I could get through this in like a day, maybe even less than a day. So in between reading the denser fantasies, I want to read this one because it just looks so cool. So I'm gonna try it out. This next book I picked up purely because of the cover, and I have no idea what it's about other than the fact that it's fantasy, and that is The Kingdom of Little Wounds by Susan Kokel. I just love this cover. The spine is beautiful, and the best part about this book is the pages are maroon. I have never seen that color on pages, and this book just looks gorgeous. Gorgeous. And when I saw that, I believe I watched somebody's haul and it was on there, and I just had to get it. I haven't heard a whole lot about this book, but I have seen it on a couple people's shelves, like behind them. That's all I know. People are buying it, but they're not talking about it much, so I want to read this pretty soon so that I can have maybe a review up so that more people know about this book. But it's pretty. Look at it. You should just buy it purely for the cover. I mean, if you like just buying for the cover, just do it. Then I had to get a book that everybody else was raving about, and that is Half Bad by Sally Green. This is another book that's going around the booktubes right now, and I needed to check it out for myself. All I know is that it is about witches, and that's all I know. That's all I know. But the cover is gorgeous, and so I had to pick it up. The next book is Cruel Beauty by Rosamund Hodge. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I have actually already read it. It was the first book that I read in March. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't my favorite book in the world, and I will go into further detail in my March wrap-up. But basically it is a Beauty and the Beast retelling mixed with Greek mythology and a little bit of fantasy, and the fantasy aspects in this book is what really confused me. The magic in the world, I kind of felt like it was not as important as other aspects in the world, and a lot of the world building was a little bit confusing. But anyways, again, I will explain it further in my March wrap-up, or possibly in a separate review video. I don't know yet, but yes, I have read this one. Then I picked up Landry Park by Bethany Hagen. Again, another book that I don't know too much about. All I know is that I've heard it being compared to The Selection, so it is a YA dystopian romance, and that's all I know. I haven't really heard too much about this next one from any booktuber. I just happened to see it while I was browsing in the bookstore, and that book is The Shadow Prince by Brie Despin, or Despain. It is book one in the Into the Dark series or trilogy, or I'm not sure how many books, because again, I just randomly saw this in the bookstore, looked at the ratings, and the ratings are actually pretty high on it, so I had to pick it up. It is a YA fantasy romance. Basically, I know that this is about a disgraced prince who has been told that he must go to Earth and seduce a woman into coming back down to the underworld with him. So where else would you find a woman to seduce but a private school? And then the other main lead, of course, is the female, and she is, I believe she wants to be a singer. She wants to be a singer, and so she convinces her dad to allow her to go to this private school. And from reading the synopsis, I feel like it is a retelling of Persephone's story, but I haven't actually looked at the reviews to see if exactly it is, but from what I get from the synopsis, it does sound like it. So I will check that out and let you know if it is, but it sure does sound like it. This next one is one that I've been anticipating for a long time. So it's probably going to be a read that I read this month, and it is Nil by Lynn Matson. It just sounds so cool. It's basically about this girl who, I think her name's Charlie. Yes, her name's Charlie. Basically, she wakes up on this island and she doesn't know how she got there or what happened previously to that. And she meets a boy named Thad, who is the leader of a group of other kids that have ended up on this island. And they are all told that this is basically a game. They are on the island Nil, and they have 365 days, exactly 1 year, to figure out how to escape from this island or they will all die. And that sounds awesome. Anything with a premise with a deserted island and how they ended up on there, I love. And then the last 4 books in this haul are all by the same author, although they are not from the same series. I just had to show them all together because they are all in the beautiful matching covers. And those are all Brandon Sanderson books, and these are all the paperback UK cover copies. I love these copies. So I have two standalones and two from the same series. And the first one is the part 1 and 2 of The Way of Kings, which is his Stormlight Archive series. And so we have part 1 and part 2. And then we also have 2 standalones. I believe they're standalones. Pretty sure they're standalones. So we have Elantris and Warbreaker. And I just absolutely love all of these covers. I'm so excited that I have these, and now they match my Mistborn series, so they will all look so gorgeous next to each other. Yes! I cannot wait to read these. I'm in the middle of reading the first book in this trilogy, and then I will probably get to one of these. I'm not too sure. I'm thinking one of the standalones, because then I won't have to worry about having started a new series, because this one is he's currently doing this one. I think the second book is actually coming out pretty soon, so I will have to get that one pretty soon too, and I can't wait. Oh. So that is part 2 of the giant book haul that I have for you. Sorry if it was too long. Thank you for sticking around. If you have heard of any of these books, or you're really excited about some of these books, please let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you guys next time.